The DeviantArt rant is easily one of the most disappointing genres of videos on YouTube. What could have been a comedy goldmine was instead used for abuse of bad memes and bleach jokes. It's no wonder there's been sort of a backlash against these videos. What DA rants need is some personality, and not some 14-year-old pseudo-furry throwing around the word edgy like it's a tennis ball. It's stuff like this that made me give up on DeviantArt rants. But before I make my departure, one last rant must be made. A look at the worst artists on DA. So here it is, my long-awaited farewell to DeviantArt rants. This is the absolute worst of DeviantArt. Now this video will be separated into two parts. Part 1 being artists that I've handpicked to riff on, and the other part being requests and my final send-off to the DeviantArt Disasters series, which will be uploaded sometime in the future. When, I don't know, because video production is very time-consuming. But for now, sit back, grab some popcorn, and have a laugh at the worst DeviantArt has to offer. It just wouldn't be a DeviantArt rant without some sort of mentioning of a fetish freak. This fetish freak is one of the fart variety. I welcome to the world Maxinator93, easily one of the worst artists on this website, bar none. First of all, I want to take a look at his drawings because they are something else. Gym girl farts, what the fuck is going on with her face? It looked like she fucking contracted 48 varieties of skin disease. And are those supposed to be shoes? Those don't look like shoes. That looks like garbage that she just wrapped around her feet. And is that shit dripping down from her neck onto her tits? Oh god. And don't get me started on the fact that somebody actually likes this.
Great work!
Great work, my ass. This guy has achieved new levels of incompetence. His drawings lack anatomy or any sense of artistic direction whatsoever, and you gotta love this dialogue.
Oh, no, I farted in the pool again, and now is the water disgusting dirty. Damn, how gross.
Thankfully, someone this incompetent will never have a job in the entertainment business. And when this loser isn't drawing girls farting, he simply edits farts onto pictures of real-life girls. I don't need to repeat why his art is so bad, but nonetheless I will. There is no excuse for this art being this horrible. Even a fucking fetus could draw better than this mouth breather. Seriously, this imbecile has the audacity to call this girl beautiful. Normally you'd have to be trying to draw this bad, but this guy, as far as I'm concerned, is 100% serious, so I'm just going to assume this guy has an IQ level that I could count on one hand. And at the end of the day, Maxinator93 is a worthless, disgusting, and redundant DeviantArt user with no talent whatsoever. This is the kind of artist you could easily mistake for a young child judging by their artwork. This deviant is none other than FlyScratch, who is guilty of uploading some of the most amateurish artwork ever uploaded to DA. 90% of his artwork consists of random characters with their arms in the Christ the Redeemer position, with laughably oversized hands. Listen, FlyScratch, if you were to use your hands and do your research, you'd find out that hands are not the size of a fucking baby elephant. I mean, fucking Christ, the drawings I made back in the 5th grade look better than this garbage. Now, you could make the lazy excuse that this guy has autism, but I personally have met many kids with autism that could draw 1,000,000 times better than this guy. Hell, Chris Chan could draw better than this. I'm not even joking. There is no excuse for this artwork being this poor in quality. He also does what I assume are short stories, all of which are so poorly written that they end up being hilarious as a result. Along with his terrible stories, he also does pony OCs and other such fan art. And all of it is god-awful. The OCs have terrible color palettes to them, which results in my eyes hurting. All in all, FlyScratch is one of the laziest users on DA. His artwork is terrible. and dear God are his pony OCs atrocious. Fetishes on DeviantArt pretty much have no limit. People here will pretty much wank to anything. One person who's so weird it breaks the WTF scale is a user by the name of Miss Big Ass. And judging by their username, you can already tell they like big butts and cannot lie. His deviations are nothing more than some 3D animated chick with an ass the size of Jupiter, either farting or shoving someone up her ass. You know, you have to have no shame whatsoever to find this filth sexy. What the hell is going on with you, Russia? Okay, what the hell is this? Why is she a horse? And why is she farting blood? Those look like blood fumes! God, this is like the artistic version of taking a shit on a piece of toast on top of a roof while singing I'm Too Sexy. There's so many questions, but I'd rather not know the answers. No. Please, no. This isn't even fucking worth it. I mean, I would like to go into further detail about this user's artwork, but it's not worth it. It's some of the worst shit I've seen on DeviantArt. It's pure ass. In fact, Miss Big Ass, I would encourage you to change your username to just ass, because that's exactly what your fucking gallery is. 0 out of 10. Dear God, where do I even begin with this user? Before I even show this guy's artwork, I'd recommend you get yourself a barf bag and enough money to afford a surgical eye removal. Because Godzilla Boy makes some of the most redonkulous artwork I've seen on DeviantArt. His artwork is pretty much on the same level as Chris Chan, and I'm not even kidding. And to add insult to injury, most of his drawings involve fecal matter, so if any of my viewers happen to be named DWizScat, well, you're in for the boner of your life. But for the rest of you guys, I'd recommend that you look far away from the screen. Now this next piece of artwork that we're going to be taking a look at is batshit insane, if you know what I mean. It is none other than Batman Gets Diarrhea.
Oh, I'd love it if that sexy beast Batman were to just take a huge diarrhea dump. Oh god, that'd be so sexy.
Where do I even begin with this? I mean, why is there shit everywhere? Did he not have enough time to make it to the toilet? Was he just spreading his fucking butt cheeks open and shitting all over the room? Why is there a puddle of puke in the middle of the room? I don't get any of this. There's apparently a backstory to this, but I'm not even gonna bother reading it because why should I? I mean, just look at this garbage. Okay, this has to be the most redonkulous thing I've ever seen in my life. In this drawing, we see some dude literally riding a dragon's cock. And if you thought that was crazy, well, look at the dragon. He's shitting everywhere as if though he took laxatives an hour before flight. I have a feeling that Josh17 over here would be very good friends with DeviantArt if they were to meet. Maybe you haven't got this already, but there's this guy and he's like riding a dragon's dick while the dragon poops everywhere. This is even weirder than those pictures of dragons fucking cars. This is the creation of someone who is the furthest thing from mentally stable. Someone who should be locked far away from society. I can't believe shit like this even exists, let alone people who enjoy it. The situations within these drawings are so utterly ridiculous that I've actually forgotten to talk about the art style. Yeah, it's fucking amateurish, and eerily similar and reminiscent of the works of Chris Chan. I'm not even joking. With the ridiculousness and sheer amounts of fecal matter that his artwork contains, I wouldn't be surprised if this dude became an internet lolcow like Chris Chan. Sure, he probably isn't going to be as infamous as Chris Chan, but if enough people find this guy out, he might be halfway on the level of Chris Chan, if you know what I mean. Do you suck at speaking foreign languages and want to learn how to translate them? Well, unfortunately, Translation Academy does not have you covered since it's a mere spam account out of India. You know, the same country where it's commonplace to take a dump out in the open. It doesn't help that his or her deviations are extremely small in size, and thus very pixelated.
Hey, you there, young lad. Will you help, please? I've managed to get stuck in the keyboard and can't seem to get out. Maybe you should call the search and rescue team.
Want to translate? Just press a button, and you can translate any word from any language at any time you want. We're Translation Academy, and we're taking over the world one translation at a time, motherfucker.
I don't know why, but it just seems as if the Translation Academy is kinda similar to Furry Paw Picks in a sort of way. Women in Nuclear Conference, United Arab Emirates. I don't think so. That looks like a goddamn dining room Translation Academy. I can't really make out the faces in this picture, mainly because of how pixelated it is, but I think that the person in the middle of the screen is a fat lesbian, because as we all know, fat lesbians have quite a thing for translation. So, Translation Academy really isn't anything special. It's just another spam account out of the country where people take dumps out in the middle of the fucking street. So, let's move on, shall we? Okay, it's another fart fetishist. This time under the name of Gasmaster7. I have 2 questions for Gasmaster7. What happened to the previous 6 Gasmasters? Did they all die from inhaling their own farts? Or did they never exist in the first place? And secondly, why crayons? Colored pencils will do, even markers, but crayons are an absolute no-go for art on DA. You'd be better off using MS Paint. There is no creative drive in this gallery. All it consists of is pictures of various video game characters bending over a bit, grunting, and letting out oddly shaped fart clouds. Remember that time you ate your mom's entire jewelry collection and started farting out gems? Yeah, didn't think so. Donkey Kong is farting out his own logo, it seems. Man, Nintendo has really gone to shit, haven't they? Oh wow. Never before has farting been so patriotic. It's a shame that in Donald Trump's America that this isn't the official symbol of freedom. All you terrorist scum can blow up as much shit as you want to, but you'll never have anything on our farting pelican. It seems this guy really has an obsession with farting out faces. Yeah, I'm just as confused as you are. Just as much as I am confused at the copy pasta descriptions.
After eating a lot of food on Earth, Elder King's belly starts rumbling, making him a lot gassy. He went back to the Supreme King planet, and when he is alone without anyone seeing him, he takes his stance, wiggles his butt, takes a big deep breath, and rips out a massive fart. Elder King sigh in relief after that fart.
Alright, here's a weird DeviantArt comment. It reads, "When Blizzaria released a fart, it can set a state on ice." What the hell does that even mean? Someone tell me, because I do not know.
When Tommy Thunder was assigned to be in a Q&A on live TV, one of his questions was,
Hey Tommy, how powerful is your farts?
Grammatically incorrect. Tommy was going to answer it, but he wants to answer it in person. So he told the person who gave him the question as in one words, not just the question, but the question, to come downstage. After that, one of his workers brings him a can of baked beans, and ate. After that, his belly starts rumbling colossally big, redundancy, much redundancy, making him supremely gassy as opposed to a lot gassy. He asks the person to be behind him, then takes his stance, lifts up his tail, wiggle his butt, takes a big deep breath, and rips out a gigantic fart that smells terribly awful, again with the fucking redundancy, and blows the person back to the wall. Tommy continues to rip out a lot of humongous farts because the baked beans he ate made him way too gassy. After he is done farting, Tommy Thunder sigh in relief. So, it's clear that not only is this guy bad when it comes to drawing, but it's also evident that he rode the short bus to school judging by his poorly grammars and use of crayons. Sorry, Gasmaster7, but the only thing you're a master of is third-rate art.
I have a bad case of diarrhea. I have a bad case of diarrhea.
Hate scat, don't ya?
Well, you're going to hate this user, given his love for fat women shitting. Okay, seriously, it's bad enough to be a scat lover, but it's another thing to be a fan of fat women shitting. But in this fucked up world, anything can be passed off as sexually attractive. His deviations are essentially stolen screenshots from BBW scat porn, the screenshots being the backdrop to the agonizingly awful erotic stories in the descriptions. As soon as she sits down, her gaseous shit begins. Splat, sploosh, splat, splat, splash. As she shits into the toilet, the smell quickly exits the bathroom and goes throughout the whole house, much to the whatever that word is, of the family. Splash, 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 sploosh, splash, splash, as she continues to shit.
Oh goodness, my stomach!
She says, holding her stomach. Splash, 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 as Michelle reaches for the air freshener, which does absolutely nothing to ease the smell. She shits on the toilet, sweating profusely as she pushes out more shit. Splat, 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 as her loud shit splatters inside the toilet. She sighs in relief and continues to sit on her toilet.
R-R-R-T splat crackle slash the R-R-R-R-R-R-R-R-R-R-R-P-T asterisk as Michelle continues to shit. The gaseous diarrhea smell was starting to make the children nauseous. Mommy, are you still going doo-doo? As Kennedy asked as she looked at Michelle sweating while pushing out her shit. Yes, sweetie, Mommy is asterisk splat the R-R-R-R-R-R-R-R-R-P-T asterisk still using the toilet. Asterisk splat splat sploosh the R-P-T-T-T-T asterisk. Ooh, I feel so much better. As Michelle thought to herself. So she felt she was done shitting and reached for the toilet paper, only to discover that there is none.
This is the kind of perverted loser who creeps into women's bathrooms just to watch girls shitting. Still don't think he's a pervert? Look at this.
OMG, words cannot simply explain how beautiful I think her body is. She is the perfect example of what I think a woman should be. If only I could have her for one night.
He also gets butthurt when people question his deviations or criticize it in a negative manner.
No. Just no.
Don't tell me what I can post on here. If you don't like it, don't look at it.
What the actual fuck?
What do you mean?
I mean, how did I get here, and why would you post this?
You got here because you clicked on it, and I posted this because I can.
JHR doesn't realize that his efforts to create the first hit scatological erotic novel will never get off the ground. I think he should just stick to being a wage slave at Taco Bell.
My crew is big and it keeps getting bigger. That's 'cause Jesus Christ is my nigga.
Have you ever wanted a DeviantArt user who is a radical far-right Christian who thinks everything is satanic? What, you're telling me there's no demand for that? Of course there isn't! This is DeviantArt, the gayest place on the internet, and given that this guy is crazier than Wild Bill for America after snorting 10 lines of coke, it's no wonder that people only follow him to laugh at his insanity. It's hard to tell if this guy is a troll, or the most insane person on the planet. Also, this guy looks like he fucks pigs. All across the backwoods of Kentucky, he be getting all them piggy hoes. Pig fucking aside, this guy makes these weird, poorly edited collages claiming that everything under the sun is satanic, including MTV. I actually agree. MTV is guilty of creating the full-blown pop music rapage that is modern top 40 radio. Seriously, fuck you MTV for pushing rock music into the underground, and fuck you pop music fans for helping fuel modern society's xenophobia towards rock music. All you top 40 pop-tards deserve nothing but scorn for your shitty taste in music. Sorry, I got a bit off script there for a moment. You know what I said about rock music just a second ago? Yeah, just because he hates MTV doesn't mean he's a headbanger like me. No, he's one of the 10 retards on this planet who thinks that rock music is satanic. The Beatles are satanic, Pink Floyd is satanic, everything is the work of Satan, so you might as well just kill yourself. Also, this little pig fucker made this thing. Sorry, Master Colonel, but people aren't falling for your ultra-conservative nonsense. You and that pig you are married to can happily have unprotected sex in the outhouse outside your trailer home. Say goodbye to Master Colonel and say hello to Master Smooth, someone who is as equally insane as Master Colonel, but for a completely different reason. I'm going to have to censor a lot of his gallery due to its pornographic nature, but surprisingly enough, its sexual subject matter is only the tip of the iceberg. I have no idea what kind of drugs this guy smokes, injects, or shoves up his ass whenever he comes up with stuff like this. His artwork has a lot of recurring themes, like this guy with a belt, crowds of people in the background, and squirrels. I really don't get the message behind this wacky pornography, so let's check out some of his more safe-for-work creations. So this is what Obama has been doing ever since Cheeto Jesus took his place. Like, is this some sort of half-assed attempt at political satire? And what's with this woman in the background giving away free fan service? I'm all for being abstract and whatnot, but this is just confusing. But not as confusing as this. I need not comment on this monstrosity. Adorable, deplorable. Yeah, Master Colonel might find you adorable, but the rest of the planet wouldn't touch your ugly ass with a 50-foot pole. Even during the most severe of floods, the Beltman continues to whip ass. I seriously still don't know the motives behind his gallery. Master Smooth is easily one of the most confusing people I've seen on the internet so far. His artwork is beyond words, with no sense of consistency, with a heavy sense of sameness across the gallery. Naked women, squirrels, whatever the fuck this is, and random images plastered everywhere. Master Smooth may not be a master of smoothness, but he most certainly is a master of confusion. There is nothing worse than wasted potential, but when all your artwork looks like this, it's easy to say that there wasn't any potential to begin with. Namkudo is basically your run-of-the-mill MS Paint artist whose gallery consists of pictures that all look the same. Characters with bodies reminiscent of the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, all drawn in the same position. It's a sad state of affairs when this guy's older deviations look better than his new ones. His artwork manages to look somewhat better in colored pencil and marker than in MS Paint. Yeah, an artist getting worse over time. That's like downgrading a computer that runs on Windows 98 to Windows 3.1. I wouldn't be surprised at all if some of his pictures are merely recolors of each other. The bad artwork doesn't help at all. Not only are the characters drawn in an extremely chunky manner, but the anatomy isn't that good either. What the fuck is wrong with their hands? I've seen 5-year-olds draw better hands than this guy, who is 19 years old. 19 years old. Also, cartoon and anthropomorphism is not a fucking visual artist. Seriously, Namkudo, with art like this, your dreams of making video games are slim to none. Here we have a Sonic Inflator fanboy known as SRX1995. Yeah, this guy does exactly what Sonic Inflator does. One thing I find really confusing about this guy's deviations are the bellies. What the fuck is that lump in the middle of the belly? That doesn't even look like a stomach. It looks like a giant titty. And speaking of giant titties, I mean, I like big titties and all that, but she's a fucking bat. Does anyone really want to fuck a bat? He also has deviations containing beefed up, sexy versions of male Sonic characters, because when I think about Sonic, I think about thick, juicy buns of steel. Now this right here is a fucking monstrosity. It's blatantly obvious that the pants, shirt, and hair were drawn in, and it just looks terrible. But then again, good Sonic OCs are about as rare as finding a unicorn out in the wild. And to top off all the titty bellies and other weird shit, he also has a bunch of deviations containing farts, because no bad DeviantArt page is complete without some flatulence. SRX is simply a bad deviant artist, but that hasn't stopped him from getting over 75,000 page views. The lesson here is that quality is the last thing you need to be popular on DA. As if though people using Source Filmmaker to appease their sick fantasies wasn't bad enough, people also use Gmod to do the same thing. One of these freaks is none other than Borkin Bad, and when this neckbeard isn't tipping his fedora and poning feminists, he's uploading trash like this. For the love of God, why? Why would anyone find this sexy? The fact this guy is red-pilled makes this bundle of weirdness even weirder than it should be. And what the fuck is up with these pony-human hybrids? It looks like something out of a horror movie, but that doesn't deter Borkenbad from whacking his meat to them, and if it isn't ponies, it's Kirby characters, because fuck your childhood. And Yoshi. And Animal Crossing. And Sonic, because fuck normal porn. All I want to do is lick Sonic's sweaty feet all day long. And if you still didn't think this could get any worse, let's throw Star Fox into the mix. This guy's deviations are just plain uncanny, and hard to look at. But I'll give him credit on one thing. At least he's honest about his output.
Are you a maybe?
I know that I've already made a rant on this guy in the past, but the fact still remains that I have Dev Cat Scratch fever. Now, I've already shown you the Luggin parodies this guy used to shit out like a factory, but he also has another strange obsession. Bump bows. Basically, it's something pregnant women are supposed to wear, or something. Whatever it is, this guy is obsessed with them, and oftentimes draws various kids' cartoon characters wearing them. Hell, he even has drawings of characters as bump bows. And all of a sudden I'm reminded of that picture of Sonic as a toilet. And now Nick Jr. is taking to the air. That's a great idea. I can't wait until Smucker's has its own airline. Here's an even better idea. Nick Jr. Casino. Now your kids can gamble thousands of dollars away. Okay, Marlboro has their own airline now? If shit like this keeps up, my local lemonade stand will have their own airline.
For favor tender for elotismo.
A Bumpos app? Nobody wants a goddamn Bumpos app, seriously. Littlest Pet Shop potty training? That's an even worse idea. Only sick pedophiles with scat fetishes would ever download that. And when this guy isn't lugging it, or blinding your eyes with some other sort of weird shit, he simply uploads pointless pictures of cluttered desks or a remote. Dev Cat Scratch's DA page is IQ-droppingly bad. I'd recommend only the bravest of internet scavengers look upon his gallery. We've seen a lot in this conclusive episode of DeviantArt Disasters, from 3-year-olds who somehow got access to the internet, to crazy fundamentalist Christians, to people writing Dragoncock. But I think it's best that I end this video by taking a look at the artist who kickstarted me into the spotlight. South Park, excuse me, it's now NickOKCutie. Now I'm gonna come forth and admit that this user is nowhere near as bad as cringe fags would like to make her out to be. I'm pretty certain Fly Scratch is proof positive of that. But that still doesn't mean that our channel is any good. For instance, what the fuck is this? It looks like the result of Barney the Dinosaur and Rainbow Dash having unprotected sex with each other. It looks like what would happen if Rainbow Dash and the cast from The Problem Solvers had sex and made a baby. This character design is laughably bad. Here's another one of her OCs, and while it looks miles better than Shine Shine Quacks, it still doesn't look any good. It's just so bland and uninspired. It seems a couple months back, every second-rate DA user was milking the fuck out of the Bendy and the Ink Machine hype train, and this user is no exception, going as far to even put said character in diapers. Chances are this user might be a fan of Blonde Boy. Let's put aside the diaper fetishism and bad OCs and talk about her actual drawings. They aren't half bad. Sure, there's better out there, but these pencil drawings are far from terrible. And of course we have the Vor Inflation or Fat folder, which alongside shit like this, contains the kind of stuff that looks exactly like what K4ia makes. Oh, come on. How dare you shit on the legacy of something as awesome as Regular Show. You owe the entire world an apology for that. And this right here is easily NickOKCutie's best piece of art. It's actually pretty damn good. Or at least for her standards it is. Sure, the shadowing and backgrounds are pretty wonky, but ignoring that, it looks pretty damn good. And let's be honest, NickOKCutie has improved somewhat since the days of pregnant breadwinners OCs, but it's still not good. But you have to give her credit for at least trying to improve at the end of the day. Ignoring garbage like this, the artist formerly known as South Park Artist 135 is your average run-of-the-mill DeviantArt user. There really isn't anything here that stands out from the rest of DA. And plus, there's way worse stuff out there, if this video is anything to indicate. It's been quite a ride, hasn't it? We've seen it all at this point, from fundies to inflation fanatics, from BBW scat porn to failed interior designers. DeviantArt Disasters has given many of my dear viewers quite a chuckle, but all good things must come to an end. With DeviantArt rants fading and brighter things on the horizon, DeviantArt Disasters must come to a close. But it's not quite over yet. There's always a chance of Part 2, the Requests episode, giving this series a final send-off. As for now, I'd like to thank my 2,000 subscribers who've helped make this video a reality. Without you, this video wouldn't exist right now. Thanks to all who've helped me grow over the past year and a half. It really means a lot to me. It's my best hope that DeviantArt Disasters lives on as a legacy of mine, even after it's all over. Thanks to everyone who's watching this video right now, and have a wonderful day. Part 1 of the DeviantArt Disasters finale was a smash success by my standards, with over 11,000 views and counting. So I think it's about time I finally give this series a send-off, by taking a look at the requests I've received in the past, and various artists I've wanted to take a look at but never quite got around to doing so. For some, me finally ending this series is a saddening state of affairs, and honestly, some things were never quite achieved with this series. But it's better to burn out than to fade away. So once again, grab some popcorn and a drink of your preference, and feast your eyes upon some more disastrous deviants. If you've ever wanted to watch Bendy and Felix the Cat eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, or Sonic the Hedgehog announce the release of his latest franchise entry, then you no longer have to wait. Marco's Power arguably makes some of the most pointless deviations on this site. Like if you've ever wanted to see Cuphead and Mugman write a letter to a non-existent obese bearded man, then this guy has you covered. Mediocre artwork combined with asinine subject matters make for a rather sleep-inducing gallery. This gallery isn't going to cause any jaws to drop, there isn't going to be any uncontrollable laughter, head-scratching is the most you'll get out of this dull, lifeless gallery. Like characters crying over missing past decades in some vain, failed attempt to appeal to the Le Wrong Generation crowd, or this failed crossover, and whatever the bloody hell this abomination is. But don't let his rather poor art quality fool you. With well over 1 million page views and counting, he proves once again that talent is the last thing you need to be a star on DeviantArt. Up next we have Dakota the Werefox. I know this artist hasn't uploaded in well over half a decade, but without further ado, let's take a trip down memory lane. I'm more than certain this user was a troll, given the so bad it's good vibe his deviations give off. His artwork almost reminds me of Fly Scratch in a sort of way. Either it's a stolen recolor, or something so lacking in anatomy that it's indistinguishable from paint haphazardly splattered on a canvas. This picture right here is supposed to be a vor pic, but it more or less resembles a shit skid inside a toilet bowl. Looks like the DARE program has got a new mascot. That's totally gonna persuade the kids to stop snorting Smarties. A lot of these deviations are just plain confusing. Maybe it's some sort of secret message. Who knows? Either way, Dakota the Werefox is a troll that time forgot, and chances are we won't be seeing him ever again. But hey, if you're craving some laughably bad artwork that resembles something a 3-year-old would make, just check out Fly Scratch, and prepare to die of laughter. Mike Eddie Admirer 89, formerly known as M. Jetty, is quite infamous on DeviantArt, and in some ways, rightfully so. And no, I don't have a problem with him being autistic, although I do have a massive problem with him being a fan of Jimmy Buffett. Ugh. For one, this guy is what I like to call a logo-sexual, as in he's one of those internet weirdos who has an almost romantic obsession with logos. Basically what he does is just redraws various logos in a fashion so laughably bad you could be convinced this was parody. Like him drawing logos of local news outlets that look like they were done in little over a minute, or TV stations. Like, seriously, who the fuck would want to draw the Hallmark Channel logo, or the goddamn TV Land logo? What's the deal with this guy? I mean, this guy has drawn fucking Fox News logos. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up doing the InfoWars logo. And aside from the laughable logos, he's just your average MS Paint artist who draws like a 5-year-old who's been dropped on his head one too many times. Nothing else to see here, kids. My 5th grade artwork looks like Picasso in comparison to this logo-sexual's gallery. Time to take a small break from the requests and talk about a subject I've been wanting to talk about for quite some time, and it's a subject nobody seems to be talking about on DeviantArt. There seems to be quite a few spam accounts out of India, and most of them seem to be attempting to sell bathroom products on a site mostly comprised of second-rate gay shippings. You really expect anyone to pay attention to you trying to sell hot tubs when most users are busy getting jiggy with their privates to some Rule 34 of Cuphead? Yeah, didn't think so. I have no idea why they exist, nor why all they seemingly come out of India, but nonetheless they exist and go almost completely ignored. Now I'm pretty certain most of my fans know about Translation Academy, and that poor bastard who's still stuck in the keyboard waiting for the search and rescue team, but let's make way for Drain King. He's the king of drains, baby! Nothing much to say about this account, really. This guy right here is making the kind of face you'd make when taking a 9-incher up the bum for the first time, and boy, this face sure is familiar. Ever since the Orange Disaster became America's master, Obama's been finding himself in some wacky situations. First he was strolling around a grocery store, and now he works as a plumber? Jeez. And here we have HM Cabinetry. Once again, nothing special to see. Just some bitchin' ass kitchens. And last on the list is Rohan RJ. Instead of focusing on a single subject, their account is a mishmash of randomness. We've got beaches, a girl swimming, another bitchin'-ass kitchen, and fucking doctors. And to make this even weirder, they make fucking journals that read out as commercials. How fucking delightful. Indian spam accounts may not rock your socks off, but they are an interesting curiosity lying amongst the deeper depths of DeviantArt that are worth mentioning.
It's just like one of my Japanese animes!
Up next is a fellow weeb by the name of Raffine52, a user whom, when he's not posting pointless video game screenshots, is using Gmod to do creepy upskirt pics of anime babes. Yet another citizen of the internet with too much time on his hands on his meat. Sure, my distaste for his gallery probably stems from the fact I really don't care about animes full of underage waifu bait, but aside from that, I don't see the appeal in random pointless screenshots that do nothing but clog up DeviantArt. Anyone this obsessed with underage anime girls should be required by law to remain at least 100 feet away from the nearest playground, or else this motherfucker will be doing the jailhouse rock with Big Bubba. Once again, it's just another dull, lifeless gallery with nothing to offer, except wank material for pedophiles and other such worthless garbage. So it's best I move along to the next subject before I fall asleep. If you enjoyed the MS Paint masterpieces of Fly Scratch, then chances are you'll be very fond of this gallery. Yes, the artwork is a notable step above the borderline scribble scratches of Fly Scratch, but as always, that's not saying much. For instance, when your drawing of a hammer has an uncanny resemblance to a razor, then you really need to take an art class. His quote-unquote artwork resembles the work of a 7-year-old who just learned how to use MS Paint. Also, this guy is a crazy Mr. Inter fanboy.
I find it very funny these people have the audacity to criticize supposedly shitty cartoons all day long, when a goddamn elephant can draw better than them. Of course, given this dude's name is JC Fanfics, that must mean they make fanfics. And you'd be right. And they're boring as shit. Nothing much to say about them, really. I really have no idea what these things are supposed to be. The circle tool is strong in this one. Is this supposed to be vor? Inflation? Maybe it's supposed to be... fuck it, never mind. JC Fanfics is yet another MS Paint artist who offers nothing aside from poorly drawn disaster pieces and mundane nonsense we've seen a million times before. And this goes out to aspiring artists out there. The only time you should be using MS Paint is if you're intentionally out to make bad artwork in a joking manner. Attempting to use MS Paint to make serious stuff fails 99% of the time. And plus, if you're too poor to afford any decent digital art program, just use colored pencils and paper. There's nothing wrong with living old-fashioned every now and then. Say hello to Master Smooth's slightly less crazy relative by the name of Zapper Zero, a man whose biggest interest is women being disintegrated by lasers. Welcome to the internet, folks. There's a fetish for everyone around here. I wonder how I'm supposed to even mock some of this wank material anymore. His gallery has absolutely no variety in it, so the 5 other people on this planet who are sexually aroused by women's butts being zapped will happily browse this gallery with a raging boner, while the rest of the planet stares in confusion. And that's what I absolutely detest about this account and others like it. They are nothing more than a one-trick pony doing the same old shit over and over again. Listen, I'm all for consistency, but that doesn't mean you should upload the same damn thing over and over again, especially when it comes to asinine fetishes like this. At least Master Smooth was entertaining in how inconsistent and random his gallery was. Zapper Zero is like a pop artist who makes a top 10 hit, then spends the rest of their career writing the same song over and over again while they inevitably fade in relevance. Sorry, Zapper Zero, but your zapping fetish fails to amaze me in any way, shape, or form. Up next is a rather new DA user by the name of Kitty Lover 7777. Quite a generic username. Now, judging by some of the stamps she's uploaded, I'm pretty certain it's a troll.
Did you know that racism's bad? Yeah, guys, it's wrong to treat minorities like they're lesser beings. And plus, don't murder people. Let's all get together and cuddle beneath the sunshine and rainbows.
And sunshine and rainbows is something her artwork tries to go for, and for the most part fails. And gee, that watermark in the middle of the screen sure isn't annoying. Honestly, I feel like I'm wasting my time here. It's a user nobody really knows about, and with good reason. Aside from telling people the obvious fact that racism is bad, dude, this account is about as interesting as staring at a blank piece of paper. So it's best we move on to something more interesting. Nippy Trippy is one of those kids who never grew up past the age of 8 and complained about shitty cartoons all day long when they draw like a newborn baby on bath salts. This user hasn't been around for a good 3 years. Chances are they couldn't take the hate. This user is most notorious for his heavy distaste for the Canadian cartoon Johnny Test, and more specifically the title character, with deviations of him being brutally murdered, alongside Fanboy and Chum Chum and Caillou. Of course, this guy might be a troll. After all, it's very hard to take the words "get a life, you stupid piece of poo" seriously. But given that this guy has disabled comments on some of his deviations, it's debatable whether or not this guy's troll status is positive. I can perfectly understand someone not liking a certain cartoon, understandably so. But taking your distaste for a certain piece of animation to the point of making stuff like this is just laughable and pathetic, especially when you use MS Paint to make said artwork. And his reasons for hating the cartoons are extremely asinine. I mean, for fuck's sake, dude, if a cartoon is annoying you that badly, just commit the easy task of not watching it. So, either Nippy Trippy is the greatest troll on DeviantArt of all time, or just another loser who never grew up. and quite frankly, I can't tell which one he is. Let's just hope that it's the former and not the latter. Anyone remember House of Francis? Well, even though that user is gone, there were many other users that wanted to capitalize on various art of characters eating at Augustin Burger. I don't know who the bloody F this Augustin guy is, but apparently he's got the best burgers in town, given every goddamn cartoon character in existence has been there at one point. It's so weird that so many users besides Francis also shared his obsession, given how utterly mundane it is. I'm guessing the act of eating mediocre fast food is enough to cause an erection in certain individuals. I mean, when Francis was still around, he was making animated commercials for this fictional fast food joint.
New, the double crust sandwich. Egg and meat and cheese and meat and cheese.
Seriously, dude? They put a goddamn pack of bacon in between the burger? They didn't even bother removing the plastic. What in the goddamn fuck? Augustin Burger is one of those weird DeviantArt curiosities that I find highly interesting, and it's kind of a shame it's faded from the public eye. There's just something about this fictional burger joint and its customers that really entertains me. If there's one thing that's just as bad as using MS Paint, it's using crayons. I roll my eyes into blindness anytime I see a deviation that's made with Crayola. First we saw this with Gasmaster 7 and now with Oh Crumb DM, alongside some of the most blatantly obvious recolors of all time. Seriously, this lineup of her most recent output makes Sonic recolors look like the Mona Lisa in comparison. Laziness at its finest. And goddamn, when she draws with crayons, it's abysmal, oftentimes drawing outside the lines. I mean, it was taught in preschool that you should never draw outside the lines, yet this person has to be in their late teens at the very most, and they're committing the ultimate Crayola sin. It's very funny she lists making mistakes as something she hates, given these Crayola deviations are some ungodly fucking mistakes. Aside from that, she also has a fetish for characters being tied up, which in the grand scheme of things isn't all that weird given she's also done fart fetish pics in the past. Oh god. Her gallery is just plain bad, not even in a funny way. There isn't anything positive I can say really, especially with horrible recolors and the sin of using crayons on DA. So it's best once again to move on before I have a mental breakdown. I was going to hold back on doing self-requests, but I'll make an exception in this case just for old time's sake, so hopefully this user enjoys the roast. Now I should make this clear to everyone that I don't have anything against furries, although I can't deny that there is a sizable portion of the fandom that deserves the backlash it receives. But since this user is nowhere on the level of Nazi furs with scat fetishes, I'll try to go a bit soft on him. Now this user has a bit of a thing for big bellies, and when I say big bellies, I'm talking about bellies the size of Alaska. You could stuff Fat Albert inside some of these bellies. But then again, at the end of the day, is it really harming anyone? Oh boy. First of all, there's eating ass, and then there's being crushed to death by an ass. But hey, if being choked by butt cheeks is what makes your willy happy, more power to you. Now, unfortunately, the former user isn't the only one guilty of the Crayola sin, given that good old Rinchy247 has committed it in the past, in a very similar manner with the crayon going outside the lines. Again, I must make one thing clear for aspiring DA users. Please never resort to using crayons. After all, crayons aren't made for people outside of the 5th grade. I recall calling Rinchy's Kirby OC as being not that bad, and I kinda have to stand on my word given all the laughably bad Sonic OCs out there, along with this thing. But aside from it being not that bad, there really isn't anything else I can say about it.
6 out of 10, I guess. Of course, whenever he decides to ship his Kirby OC with Star Fox characters, it just doesn't fit. It's like using strawberries as a pizza topping. It just doesn't go together. One's a blue ball with stumps, and the other's an anthropomorphic fox with a belly the size of Texas. Now, despite our differences, I'd like to make it clear I'm actually very good friends with Renchi. I don't really have anything against what he does, because at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. And plus, there is way worse stuff on DeviantArt. So, let's move on. Once again, we're saying hello to yet another Mr. Enter fanboy, this time under the name of Super Equality 07, a user who dreams about making animation great again, all the while that elephant I mentioned earlier puts their artwork to shame. This user also happens to think that September the 18th is the worst day, because one of his bullies was born on that day. This is even dumber than that whole 2016 was the worst year ever bullshit we saw a year ago. If you thought September the 18th was bad, try saying that to the day that came 7 days before it. This user also seems to have a thing for pink eye and boogers. Yeah, remember that kid who used to pick his nose in the back of the class? Chances are that this was that kid. Again, it's just another second-rate DA page with nothing to offer aside from garbage we've seen a million times before, and boring MS Paint nonsense. Sorry, Super Equality, but your failed attempts at art aren't going to make animation great again. I want to make it clear that I hold the firm belief that most art on DeviantArt isn't really bad, but so average and middle of the road that it's almost impossible to say anything interesting about it, which brings me to this user whose name I can't properly pronounce, because screw the English language. They make art that's below average. You can at least tell that it's art, albeit art of a substandard quality that's more boring than a Matchbox 20 concert in the middle of Iowa. Maybe my standards are set too low, but this art really isn't worth mocking, and the same goes for well over half of DeviantArt. DeviantArt is a site mostly full of mediocre artwork, most of which looks the same because originality is a thing of the past. But then again, most things in life are mediocre. The food you eat, the car you drive, the job you may or may not work, and everything else. Life is just a bore, a back-breaking chore. Sometimes we feel like we can't take it anymore. We run around the room searching for a door, an escape from reality, and the back-breaking brutality of the real world. Okay, seriously, what the fuck am I doing? With that little drug-induced rant out of the way, there isn't anything special I can say about this user, and the same goes for much of DeviantArt as well. Now's the time to talk about users I couldn't really go into much detail about, either because they were too not safe for work, or because there isn't much to say about them. First honorable mention is from Ryan26 on a user by the name of MyElco92. I hope I'm pronouncing that properly. Yeah, I can't show anything this user uploads. Everything behind the black bars you are seeing, you couldn't pay me to jack off to. This is some fucked up shit. The next request is from the Unlikely Human on EasyStick76. There's not much I can really say about this account since it's mostly a shitpost account. They have a deviation on the Fandom Menace and another one that's just a picture of a watermelon. The next request is on a user by the name of Razin, I think it's pronounced. It's another one of those users who's obsessed with big bellies and hyperinflated titties. There's nothing much to say. There's plenty of that on DeviantArt, so if you're into that kind of shit, then this user is perfect for you. The next user I've been requested is Goddess Ninlil, another one of those creeps whose gallery consists of anime babes with giant bellies. Honestly, I feel like people who make this kind of shit should be put on house arrest. The last thing we want to see is these people go out and rape some chick. Next request is from Kai2000 on Tommy Pezmaster, yet another crazy MS Paint artist who once again is a Mr. Enter fanboy. But then again, I think it's best to stop mentioning that guy. After all, who really cares about Mr. Enter anymore?
This user also makes meme-oriented deviations every now and then, so, yeah. Next request is from Frozen Angel on Yukino Memories, and once again I'm probably butchering that username. If hentai is your kind of thing, then you are going to love this account. My question is, how many of these chicks are underaged? Maybe it's just the animation style, but I could swear that some of these chicks are below the age of 18. Ugh. And the final honorable mention is Song of Swelling, who happens to be one of those weird-ass blueberry fetishists. It's another account filled to the brim with chicks inflated to whale-like proportions for some weirdo to inevitably grab his meat to, because in this world, everything is a fetish. God forbid there's someone out there with a fetish for fire hydrants. I mean, come on guys, there has to be at least one. And now with that out of the way, I think it's about time to conclude this series as a whole. Well, it's finally all over. DeviantArt Disasters is in its final moments, and it's kinda sad honestly, but all good things must come to an end someday, and this series was a lot of fun while it lasted. From South Park Artist 135 to Furry Paw Picks to Master Colonel, and now, the grand finale. It's my best hope that both parts of the DeviantArt Disasters finale will be seen as my magnum opus. It's painful news knowing this series is gone for good, but hopefully the memories will never die, being watched for nostalgia purposes in the years to come. And hopefully if another wave of DA ranters comes out of the woodworks, this series will serve as an inspiration to them. I'm more than proud of the accomplishments I've made along the way, and even though it's sad this series is ending, I'm happy that it existed in the first place. Let this video serve as an early 2,500 subscriber special. It's thanks to you this series even began in the first place, and I can't wait to see what the future holds. So, let's all pay tribute to this series. The glory days may be gone, but the memories will always live on. Thanks for watching.